Welcome everyone to Multidimensional Health with Dr. Toni. I'm happy that you're joining me today. On today's show, my guest, herbalist and educator John Finch, is going to be talking about the miracle healing power of DMSO. DMSO is a dietary supplement and it can be taken by mouth, applied to the skin, or injected into the veins. The story of DMSO is an unusual one. This byproduct of the paper-making process was discovered in Germany in the late 19th century. It's colorless liquid that gained popularity for its ability to penetrate the skin and other biological membranes. Scientists discovered that they could use DMSO as a transportation device to pass small molecules through skin. Since then, scientists have researched the potential benefits and risks of using DMSO to treat many conditions, and this research is ongoing. DMSO is used topically to decrease pain and speed the healing of wounds, burns, and muscle and skeletal injuries. DMSO is also used topically to treat painful conditions such as a headache, inflammation, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and severe facial pain called tic doulorex. DMSO is also used topically for eye conditions including cataracts, glaucoma, and problems with retinas. For foot conditions including bunions, calluses, and fungus and toenails. And for skin conditions including scars and scleroderma. It is sometimes used topically to treat skin and tissue damage caused by chemotherapy when it leaks from the IV that is used to deliver it. DMSO is used either alone or in a combination with a drug to treat pain associated with shingles, which is the herpes zoster infection, burns, and muscle and skeletal injuries. Intravenous DMSO is used to lower abnormally high blood pressure in the brain. It is also given to treat bladder infections and chronic inflammatory bladder disease. And the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has approved certain DMSO products for placement inside the bladder to treat symptoms of chronic inflammatory bladder disease. Additionally, DMSO is sometimes placed inside bile ducts with other medications to treat bile duct stones. As you can see, there are amazing benefits of using DMSO. So I'm really happy that John is here today to share more about the benefits of DMSO, its precautions, and how to dilute it so you can use it at home. Welcome, John, to the show. I am so excited to have you here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Again, I'm so excited. We finally connect, and you're gonna talk to us about the wonders of DMSO. I'm really excited. So tell us a little bit of what's your experience with DMSO and how can it help us with our health?
Okay, good. Well, my story starts with my son, actually, who's a professional guitar player. And he hurt his finger snowboarding. He's a little crazy like I am. And he was snowboarding out of bounds, hit a tree, and couldn't play his guitar. And that's his love and his livelihood. And so he called me up and said, "Hey, Dad, I hurt my finger. I can't play my guitar. One of my friends said I should try DMSO with it because it's a good pain reliever, anti-inflammatory, and reparative." And I said, "Well, I don't know that much about it, but what I do know is that it's safe and that it is a good pain reliever, and it goes through the skin really well." So I said, "Yeah, go ahead and try it. Can't hurt." So then I went ahead and researched it some more, and what I found out about it. I usually talk about things in my classes. I'm a health educator. And one of my students said, "Oh yeah, I've been using that for years in my massage practice." And he ended up trading me a bottle of it for a beauty cream that I make. And I started playing with it, and I started putting it in this balm that I make for sore muscles, repetitive stress injuries, that I have been relying on wintergreen essential oil and cedar leaf essential oil as the main pain relievers. And people were just doing double backflips about it. It's like, wow, this stuff is really great. Not only does it do a lot of good stuff on its own, but it's very transdermal, which means it pulls the stuff through the tissues in no time. And so I've had people say, "Yeah, I had this pain. I put that on. 2 minutes later, no pain. Fast acting, really crazy. So I researched it some more, and then I read something about it for the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
DMSO for the eyes. I have two different books on DMSO. Uh, DMSO Handbook for Doctors by Archie Scott, and DMSO Nature's Healers by Dr. Morton Walker. And so I researched it really well, and I was just blown away by it, honestly. All the medical conditions that it either prevents, reduces the symptoms of, or just completely cures. And so, but I read about it for the eyes, because I had a condition known as blepharitis.
Uh-huh.
Okay? So the eyes have tear ducts. Everybody knows about those. Keep your eyes kind of wet. But what most people don't know is that the eyes also have some oil glands called blephara. And that thin film of oil that goes over the eye prevents the water from evaporating. So if those get plugged up through inflammation, that water evaporates, and you have a condition known as dry eye, blepharitis, inflammation of the blephara. And my eye doctor said that was going to be chronic. Well, I started putting DMSO eye drops in my eyes, and in 2 days it was gone. And it's
Wow.
been gone forever. One of my students had that same condition and used it with blepharitis, and it was gone in 1 day, gone forever.
Wow. And do you just put it directly, or do you dilute it, or how did it?
Yeah, you have to dilute it. It would sting like crazy if you did it straight. So I used 30% DMSO and 70% aloe vera gel.
I see.
It still stings, and I let people know that. In fact, if they come over and get it from me, I'll put it in my eyes to show that it's okay, and then I'll have them put it in their eyes so they can experience the sting and to see that, oh, okay, it goes away in less than a minute.
Okay.
In fact, the student that had the blepharitis, when he did it in class, for about a minute, he was going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then at the end of that minute, he goes, oh my God, you could really see better, really, in that short of amount of time.
Wow.
It's really good for that, yeah. In fact, I wrote a blog on my website, selfhealschool.com, that was called DMSO Improves Vision. Because besides the blepharitis, if you have macular degeneration, something like that, which is the leading cause of blindness, studies have shown that people with like 2400 vision, putting that one drop in each eye just once a day, I use it a couple of times a day sometimes, improves their vision like 2040,
Wow.
correctable to 2020. Legally blind so you can see great.
Wow. That's incredible. Incredible.
It is really incredible. Yeah, yeah. So DMSO is actually, it's a naturally occurring compound, dimethyl sulf oxide. So the sulf part is about sulfur. So sulfur is actually part of penicillin.
I see.
That's part of what makes penicillin an antibiotic. Sulfur itself is disinfecting, it's antibacterial, and they're actually suggesting that DMSO with something called zinc iodide, which is a form of zinc. A lot of people are taking zinc for COVID-19 because it's it's antioxidant and it's disinfecting. And so zinc iodide, used for a long time as an oral antiseptic, parasiticide and stuff. But if you combine that with DMSO, which is also disinfecting and antioxidant, it's suggested that the combination of those things might be a viable treatment for COVID-19.
Wow. Wow. That's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really incredible. So it was actually synthesized by a Russian scientist in 1866. And it was used for a long time as a solvent. It's really, as far as I know, the best solvent in the world. And I'm an herbalist. So, I extract herbs in different things. But DMSO is really amazing for that. And what's also incredible about it, it's very transdermal. Whatever you have with it, it'll pull into the tissues super fast. And that's
So
why people were getting that pain relief
really
in
quick.
minutes. Yeah, literally minutes.
So do you
So,
recommend that the surface is clean then? Because will it pull dirt if you have, let's say you're going to apply it on your arm and you have like dirt in your arm, will it pull that in?
it will. Yeah, so it's recommended to be clean. But I mean, the food that we eat isn't, always, if we
Yeah.
pick it from our garden, it might have dirt on it. Dirt's not really going to hurt you,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
um, but if you have some other weird chemicals on your skin, yeah,
Mhm.
it'll pull it in there. So it's
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. Yeah, not just dirt, but some sort of like, people use creams or something that are artificial and
yeah, well,
stuff.
those are going to get in anyway, but this will pull it in quicker. Yeah, so it is recommended to make sure you don't have anything weird on your skin. Um, so it was actually 1866 for a long time used as a solvent. In 1963, though, Dr. Stanley Jacob at the science part of the University Oregon, they were looking for something to preserve organs for transplant.
Oh wow.
Previously, they had been freezing them, which worked, but freezing causes tissue damage.
Mhm.
So they were trying different things. They tried DMSO, and they found that that was effective for that. So they started using that and experimenting with that. But in playing with that, I guess somebody on the team, had maybe arthritis in their hands that
Mhm.
was working with it. It was like, oh my God, I don't have pain. They went, oh, what's going on here? Almost immediately, there were a bunch of clinical trials. The word actually got out. And there were a bunch of clinical trials for DMSO. A few years later, the Wall Street Journal published an article about a lady in New York that had been using it, and she died.
Mhm.
Well, there was never any causative
Mhm.
established, but still, they pulled all the clinical trials, and sort of that was that. And basically after that, it was mostly used on racehorses for leg injuries because it's super effective for
Mhm.
repetitive stress injuries, soft tissue injuries. Um, but other people used it, of course, found out
Mhm.
about it and used it. But it was kind of, not not approved by the FDA. Uh, it turns out that not only do organs for transplant now get preserved in DMSO, but also stem cells and
Wow.
also sperm cells, male
Wow.
sperm cells. Yeah, they're all preserved in DMSO because it's a great preservative and it doesn't damage them at all.
So that's proving that it's not killing something, right? It's keeping things alive.
Well, some things. It'll
So
kill other things.
oh yeah, it's antimicrobial.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
It's smart, right? It gives us what we need and not what we don't.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's been used for a long time as a transdermal topical analgesic. Just put it on the skin and it relieves pain. Um, it's also a vehicle for other topical applications. It'll pull other things in. So like I said, when I started putting it in my balm, uh, it just like worked so much faster because it pulled it into the skin. Um, it's anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. As I said, I use it 30% DMSO, 70% aloe vera gel for my eyes,
Mhm.
right? Um, and so, yeah, it's
Yeah.
actually a compound that's derived from in America, we extract it from lignin, Lignan, which is a insoluble fiber that's found in plants.
Mhm.
Um, and so the paper making industry takes wood pulp and pulverizes it to make paper, but they have to extract the lignin from it to make the paper smooth.
Mhm.
There's a lot of paper being made in the world. And so this is like a waste product, a byproduct. What do we do with it? What do we do with it? So the DMSO is extracted from that. And because there is so much of that, it is relatively inexpensive. I
Wow.
mean, you can get it on Amazon for like $40 or $50 a gallon.
A gallon. Wow.
Yeah. So when I first started putting it in my balm, I had been using wintergreen essential oil as my pain reliever, which costs $450 a gallon.
I know, because I use it too, and it's expensive.
It's
Yes.
expensive, yeah. And so when I started putting the DMSO in there, I cut the amount of. I could have just stopped using the
Mm-hmm.
wintergreen, but I believe in kind of a broad spectrum therapeutics,
Mm-hmm.
and so I kept using it, but I cut it in half,
Mm-hmm.
and so I replaced it with the DMSO, and so when I started putting DMSO in, I advised my uh, clients, my customers. I said, "Hey, I'm putting DMSO in here, replacing some of the." And they say, "Are you going to raise the price?" I went, "No, I'll keep it the same." But my bottom line went up,
That's great. That's great.
and my sales doubled.
Well, and I tell you, I use that balm, so I know it's amazing, and I highly recommend it. It works wonders, and everybody that I have given it to in gifts, they also love it. So I know it works. It's a really great product. So it's pretty cool that you did that. Yes, and
Yeah,
they can
and
get to you can get that balm on your website, right? They can Anybody can
correct.
buy it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Selfhealschool.com.
Is there
Yeah,
a dash, like self dash heal, or is it one word?
all one word.
One
Self
word.
Heal School. Yeah, the name is technically with a hyphen in between self and heal, but the website is no hyphen.
Okay.
Keep it simple.
So self
And
heal
then
school.
selfhealschool.com.
Okay.
Then you just go to the products link. And a couple of years ago, um, I started putting CBD in that balm as well.
Oh, okay.
So I was going to do this on DMSO and CBD, but I realized that DMSO there's so much information about that. Keep it simple. Most people know that CBD, cannabidiol, is one of the cannabinoids uh, in hemp,
Mhm.
actually. And it is also a pain reliever, anti-inflammatory, and reparative.
Mhm.
So when I paired those two things together, I was going to put CBD in my balm 25 years ago when I
Mhm.
first started making it, but it was $250 a gram then.
Wow.
Yeah, it was from some chemical company online. That's the only place you could find it. People didn't know about it, and so now I have a chemist friend that gives it to me at a reasonable price.
Mhm.
So I was able to put it into the balm at a reasonable price. I put 250 milligrams in each jar. And when you marry the DMSO with the CBD, the CBD is fantastic. Most people are just raging about CBD
Mhm.
for all kinds of things, sleep and pain, and you name it. Um, but um, but with the DMSO as the transdermal agent, and doing the same thing basically in
Mhm.
a slightly different way, these things together just are a miracle. Honestly, I mean, people are doing double backflips.
Wow.
The guy that manages the health food store here in Ocean Beach, Jim, he he golfs, and he'd been wearing a knee brace to golf, and he'd been using my self heal balm with just the DMSO. But when I started putting that 250 milligrams of CBD in there, he told me that he went and did 18 rounds of golf, no knee brace, came back, and he felt great.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and, they I can't keep that on the shelf in that store.
No, that's awesome. That's great. Great. And so, can people drink DMSO, or is it just applied to the skin?
You'd have to drink a quart of it before it would kill you.
Okay, a quart. Okay,
Yeah, which is quite a
a
lot.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, the guy that I used to get my DMSO from said that somebody else that got it from him was drinking an ounce a day of it, and it
Wow.
was curing his Parkinson's disease.
Wow.
Yeah, I've also seen studies on it that it helps with Alzheimer's disease. I mean, the list just goes on about the stuff that the DMSO is good for sure.
And do are people have you find anybody have an allergic reaction to it?
No,
Nope.
no, and I haven't seen any of that in the studies either.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, no, it seems perfectly good. There was some concern about it, putting it in the eyes, because the first studies they did were on dogs,
Mhm.
and it caused eye problems for the dogs. And so they went, oh, this is not good. But in people, people went around that and said, I'm going to try it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And there's enough people that have done that, and then they did some studies, and it's fine for us, not a problem. It's not only will it cure blepharitis, but as I said, it'll actually reverse um, macular degeneration, uh, which is the leading cause of blindness.
What about, have you heard if there's any possibility for like cysts or tumors or anything like that?
What I use for that stuff actually is castor oil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, castor oil. Edgar Casey channeled all the good information about castor oil.
Mm-hmm.
The sleeping prophet, he would go into trance, right? And when he had a client, he would go into trance, and he would channel what was wrong with him and what would help him, and somebody would take notes on that.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a lot of readings on castor oil. Um, and so that castor oil is actually the main oil that's the base of my balm.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I extract this combination of herbs. See, in 1985, I tore my ACL playing
Mm-hmm.
basketball. And I went to my herbalist, and he gave me this bag of herbs. That was an old-timey herbal combination for soft tissue injuries. And I did a compress of that on my knee. 6 weeks later, I was playing full court basketball.
Wow.
And today, I couldn't tell you which knee that was.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I was talking about that in one of my classes. Again, I talked about stuff in my classes, and I was talking about the castor oil, and one of my students said, "Wow, you should probably extract those herbs in the castor oil and make like a salve or a balm or something." So it's like, oh yeah, my dog actually had a golden retriever that had a growth on his paw that was hurting him. So I thought, well, that might help for that. I actually went to sleep that night and dreamed
Mm-hmm.
about my balm. I woke up in the morning and I made it, and I put it on his paw, and he licked it off. He didn't like it. It turned out that he had cancer, and so that wasn't helpful for that. But one of my students at the time, Kate Montgomery, was a massage therapist that wrote a book, The Carpal Tunnel Syndrome, Repetitive Stress. And I gave her some of this. I said, Kate, this for Tyler, but he doesn't like it. But I think this is really cool stuff. She called me the next day and she said, oh my God, she said, serendipitously on the way home, I actually broke my toe.
Wow.
And I put some of that stuff on there. And one day later, it's like it never happened. What is
Wow.
this stuff? So I actually private label that for her right now. But yeah, I have lots and lots of stories. But so I extract these combination of herbs in DMSO because it's a great solvent. I extract the herbs in castor oil because some of the
Okay.
stuff's more oil soluble, and I have that on the stove right now because I'm ready to make another batch. And I also combine 2 parts of castor oil with 1 part of DMSO, so that imparts more solubility to the castor oil,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I use all 3 of those extractions in my one balm, and it works super duper great.
That's awesome. That's great. I love it. And just so everybody will know, John is the most amazing teacher when it comes to teaching us how to extract herbs. And I know like my practice got 100 times better once I learned how to extract herbs correctly. So, and you can do classes online now with John because of the COVID. So anybody from all over the world or country can go to his website and join his classes. But if you're interested in knowing how to extract herbs, John is the person to teach you. So I highly, highly recommend going to his website and checking out his classes. So it's he knows it and he knows how to do it right. Yeah. So that's a great thing.
But I've been teaching it since 1985. In fact, I just taught the extraction class last night.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and that's in my herbal fundamentals course. And because of COVID, I usually charge $190 for my herbal fundamentals course, but giving people a break to get them interested, and so instead of $190, it's $97. So
So
it's half price.
that's amazing, and it's information you're gonna love and use. And again, if you want to learn about herbs, you need to call John. So that's I'm his student, so I know I've been part of his. Graduated a while back, but he's amazing. I know that.
Cool. And one of the advantages, of course, of doing the classes on Zoom is that we record them. So then if people like fall asleep in class, I try and keep them awake. Or they have some kid issues or just can't make it to the class. Then I record the classes and I send out the recordings to everybody so you can watch it to make up, to review. You have it for the rest of it's, a YouTube video you can have forever.
Great, great. So, John, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that you come back and talk about other herbs, and that will be great.
Bye.
And John's website is selfhealschool.com.